So next we are just going to practice perimeter and area, which we've been doing the last few days. Really making sure we understand the difference in terms of how to calculate, because now there's going to be some extra numbers in the picture that some you need for area, some you need for perimeter, and you have to know which one. So before you start, make sure you have the area formulas sheet, which looks like this. So you don't have to memorize them right now. Eventually, when you get to high school, you probably will have to memorize most of them. But this is kind of your cheat sheet for when you're doing this worksheet. So we will start with the parallelogram. So remember, perimeter is literally like taking a walk around the shape. It's the distance around the shape. We're going to add all the sides together. So 13 is along a side, right? 25 is along a side, but notice 12 is inside the parallelogram. We are not going to use 12 during our perimeter. So, things to know about the parallelogram. Remember, opposite sides are the same. So if that's 13 meters, so is the other side. If the bottom is 25 meters, so is the top. Now I can just add all of these together. So I have two 13s, and I have two 25s. 13 plus 13 is 26. 25 plus 25 is 50. And 26 plus 50 is 76. And the unit is meters. So again, I'm just walking around the shape, adding all the sides together, nothing on the inside. Now, area is different. Remember, area was the number of square units on the inside. I don't see the square units in this picture, but that's what I'm calculating. And that requires a formula. So I go to my formula sheet, and I look for parallelogram, and it's the very first one, that area is base times height. So I'm going to write that down. So the base is typically the bottom of the shape. So our base is 25 times height. That's where that 12 comes in. That's that straight up and down dimension. And then to calculate 25 times 12, you probably need a calculator. You could do it off to the side if you'd like by hand. But you get 300. And for units, remember you're putting that meter, but you're putting that little exponent of 2 to represent square meters. So perimeter, add all the sides. Area, use a formula. Let's move on to the rectangle. So we need to walk around the figure again. I have two sides that are missing, but I know a rectangle is similar to the parallelogram in terms of the opposite sides being the same. So I have another 4.5 here and another 10 here. I'm going to show that I'm going to add them all together. You can add them in whatever order you want. Remember, addition is commutative. 4.5 plus 4.5 is 9. 10 plus 10 is 20. And we get 29. This time the unit is millimeters. Regular units for perimeter, square units for area. All right, area, gotta go back to my formula sheet. Now we're looking at rectangle. We can see that rectangle is showing length times width. I'll write that down. Really doesn't matter which dimension you make the length and which one you make the width. I usually call this one down here the length and the side one the width. So I'm doing 10 times 4.5. And then 10 times 4.5 is 45. that unit on there, millimeters, put that little squared. All right, for our square, remember a square is a special type of rectangle where all the sides are the same. So I can go ahead and put 7 on all of the sides. Perimeter, I'm just adding up all of those sides. I'm showing that I'm going to add 7 4 times. If you'd like, instead of doing that string of 7, you could just write 7 times 4. That's fine. Either way, you'll get 28. And the unit is miles. Area, back to that formula sheet. I'm on to square. Remember, I could use the rectangle formula if I'd like. I could use length times width, but we're really trying to learn side squared for square. So area equals side squared. Area equals, our side was 7. Gonna get that little exponent. Remember what this means. It does not mean 7 times 2. It means 7 getting multiplied by itself twice. 7 times 7, which is 49 miles squared. Okay, you should get 2 different answers most of the time. Sometimes you could get the same answer, but remember their units are different. All right, next shapes. So we'll do the triangle. Perimeter, adding up all the sides. One of my sides is 12 plus, still walking around the shape, 5. Continue walking, 13. 4 is not a side length, it's the height. It's not along the outside. I do not use 4 during perimeter. All right, we're going to add these together. 12 plus 5 is 17. Bring down the plus 13. And 17 plus 13 is 30 inches. Area, got to go back to that formula sheet. We're on to triangles. You can see the triangle is 1/2 base times height. Area equals, I keep that 1/2 for now. These are all going to get multiplied together. The base of my triangle, so this is tricky. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 different numbers. I need to pick out the correct base and the correct height. Base is along the bottom, that's the 13. The height is that straight up and down vertical. That's where that 4 comes in. That's why we needed it. Okay, when I compute this, remember I have many options with the 1/2. I don't want to take half of 13, that comes out of decimal. But half of 4 is nice. Half of 4 is 2. I haven't used the 13 yet, so we'll bring that down. And 2 times 13 is 26. Unit is inches. Put the squared on it because it's area. All right, we're going to do another triangle. Just instead of this acute triangle, we have a right triangle. Perimeter, add up all the sides. So 17 is a side, 8 is a side, 15 is a side. Notice in this example, there's no dimension in the middle here that we need to exclude. All 3 of these are along the outside. All right, now we're going to add 17 plus 8 is 25. Plus that 15 is going to give us 40. Area, it's still a triangle, so we're still using 1/2 base times height. Bring down that 1/2 times base along the bottom again. There's that 15. Height, how tall it is. How tall it is that straight up and down. It's actually one of the sides in a right triangle. It's that 8. We will not be using the 17 in this area. I don't like half of 15, but I do like half of 8. It's 4. Bring down the times 15. And 4 times 15 is 60 square feet. All right, this is the last example we will do together. We're going to do an isosceles trapezoid. So if it says the word isosceles, that means two sides are the same here. So this missing side over here is the same as this side to the left. So it's another 5. Some trapezoids are not isosceles. They'll just give you all 4 sides. All right, perimeter. Add up the sides along the edges. So 5 is along the edge. 6 is along the edge. Another 5 is, and the 8. I'll trace right the numbers I just grabbed. 5, 6, 5, 8. The 4 is inside. I'm not going to count that in my perimeter. 5 plus 6 is 11. Plus 5 plus 8 is 13. And 11 plus 13 is 24 centimeters. Area of a trapezoid, that's a new formula. Back to our sheet. It's that tricky one on the bottom. It's the most complicated. We'll just copy it down. 1/2 height, base 1 plus base 2. Bring down that 1/2. It's right up against it again. We're still multiplying. Height, how tall our trapezoid is, that's straight up and down. That's where that 4 comes in. It's not the 5 because that's slanted. It's got to be vertical. Parentheses, our 2 bases are the top and the bottom. It doesn't matter which one you label which. I'm going to call the 6 base 1 and call the 8 base 2. So 6 plus 8. All right, I'm going to do a few steps at once here. 1/2 of 4 is 2. Times, do what's in the parentheses, 6 plus 8 is 14. And 2 times 14 is 28 square centimeters. So that just reviews everything we've learned so far, making sure you really understand the difference and knowing which number to use for what. The back is for you to try on your own. You can see it's set up exactly the same. You can use your formula sheet, use a calculator if you need it for some of the calculations, and then check your answers over.